Today I'm going to be ranking every single episode in Adventure Time that revolves around one of its most beloved characters, Beimo. Beimo is one of those characters that you just can't help but to love. His childlike wonder, his imagination, his view on the world, thinking that he's bigger than he is, tougher than he is, that he's a true hero, is just so incredible to watch. He has detective episodes, he goes into space, he has episodes where he teams up with villains, he goes around being a salesman, he goes into a VR world. Beimo has some of the best episodes in the entire series, and he is a fan favorite character, so I figured why not make a video ranking every single episode that revolves around only Beimo. And I am almost at 10,000 subscribers, a number that I can't really even fathom at this point. I'm surprised that many people actually managed to click the button, but if that many people can do it, then you can lift your arm up a little bit, click that button, and make me very happy, and make yourself happy with some awesome cartoon, gaming, and movie content. So without further ado, let's rank every single episode that's all about Beimo, and I want to preface this off by saying that I love all of these episodes so much, so just because one is above another, it's a very hard to rank these episodes because they're all so good. So if you're a little bit pressed and feel like one of these videos got robbed, they really didn't. They're just hard to rank. And starting off this list at number 11 is always Beimo closing. And this is why this video is immediately so hard to make, because this episode is so good, yet it's at the bottom of this list. This episode is so great. The episode opens with Finn and Jake just, eating some breakfast, sipping on stuff, making some sick beats. And then Beimo shows up and is like, "Hello, boys! It's time for me to go and make that money," because Beimo is going to be a salesman in this episode, teaming up with the Ice King to do like the, 3 kids in a trench coat thing, except it's just Beimo with Ice King holding him up, and it's a very funny visual. I immediately like it so much.
Well, gentlemen, gotta chop that wood.
And the thing that I immediately like right off the bat in this episode is Beimo's positivity about everything. He meshes really well as Ice King, and I don't think Ice King would sell anything if it wasn't for Beimo taking the wheel, being the head of this operation. And I also like how Finn and Jake have kind of just stepped into this parent role at this point in the series. It's season 10 at this point, and before it just felt like they were all kind of friends, but now they just basically treat Beimo like it's their baby, like it's their child, and they're rooting for him to go and make those sales. Even at the end of the episode, they're throwing a party for him because they believe that he's going to fail, but they still want to support their little child.
Poor little guy. Still wearing out the shoe leather, trying to make just one more lousy sale before coming home.
He'll feel better after we have a little party for him.
I find that very interesting, and I like that a lot. But either way, Beimo and Ice King exit the building, falling all the way backwards, and they start going on their sales adventure. They eventually get all the way to Tree Trunks, and Beimo's opening line is just perfect.
Hello.
Tree Trunks, how are your children? Can you believe this weather?
So polite.
That's definitely a way you want to get into somebody's house, and they're able to sell Tree Trunks a branch with basically no sale tactics at all other than being quite gentlemanly. Ice King just basically destroys their kitchen, grabs a wad of money, like it looks like a lot of money, like a lot of dough. And they leave. Successful first sale, they start running into the forest, and Ice King is able to jump and hop over everything with Beimo's instructions. They are just perfectly synchronized. Hashtag best buddies. Best buddy Beimo, best buddy Ice King, together forever, making amazing sales. And they are now lost. Lost in the forest because they were running around, not focusing on what they were doing. And this takes them to Gumball. And if you don't know who Gumball is, Uncle G, Princess Bubblegum's uncle, who is a villain, kind of the major villain at this point in the story, the biggest villain that we have, until we eventually get to Golb. And they walk in there with the intent to sell something to Gumball. What could they possibly sell to him? Well, Gumball doesn't really like that Beimo is here and is about to chop him up with an axe because he does not like Beimo. He's going to chop him up with an axe until Beimo pulls out those sweet, succulent, delicious sounding Finn's baby teeth.
Did I mention that it contains Finn's teeth?
Please, let's go in the parlor, where we can be more comfortable.
Gumball is amazed with this, buys them immediately, gives Beimo a goblet. Yippee, yippee, how exciting. And he creates a bunch of little teeth goblin, little teeth monsters to go and attack Finn and Jake. Beimo and Ice King make it back home, and they're like, "Wow, we did so good. Look at the loot."
Hello, boys! Meet the salesman of the year. Or maybe of the decade. The Chinese food is on me. I mean, check out the loot.
And that's when the baby teeth show up after Finn is dealing with the horrible realization that Beimo sold all of his baby teeth. The teeth show up and Beimo gets to make one final sale, a mallet to destroy those baby teeth.
Gentlemen, could I interest you in a couple of sledgehammers? Perfect for smashing through minerals or composites.
I'll take one.
Me too!
Great decision.
I like this episode a lot. Just the entire premise of Beimo and Ice King going around doing sales together is just really funny. They work super well as a comedic duo, like Ice King grabbing a piece of pie and just immediately shoving it into his trench coat.
Here, have some apple pie.
Oh, thank you.
Now what can...
Then falling backwards down a ladder, and then at the end when they're talking about how they want to do this again tomorrow, and Finn's just like, hell no, you're not doing this ever again.
Hey, wait. See you tomorrow, partner.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, you're not doing this tomorrow.
Because, you know, they caused immense chaos. But either way, them going around selling lint, selling sticks is something I will not forget about. It is a really good episode. And the reason it ranks this low on the list is because, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. That's kind of all it is. That's kind of all that happens. Yes, we get some stuff with Gumball at the end, which progresses that story a little bit, makes Gumball a little bit more menacing. But this episode is just all in good fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great, but there's not like any character developments, nothing like that. It's just Beimo and Ice King having fun. Nothing wrong with that. Amazing episode, but still the lowest on the list.
How are your children?
And coming in at number 10 is the episode Shh. And in this episode, Finn and Jake wake up and they are both using only signs to talk to each other. So they can't use their voices at all because they decide that they're going to have a wager, and whoever loses is just a loser. Nobody wants to lose. Why would you? And so they go out, they're just having breakfast. Their usage of the signs is really funny. It kind of feels like a Looney Tunes episode with like Wile E. Coyote. But either way, Beimo shows up, and he is just so hyped because he's going to have a bunch of bikini babes over for a little dance party. And he's very excited, tells Finn and Jake about this, and they start trying to use the signs to talk to him. And Beimo proclaims that they are hellspawn demons and they must be taken away from this premises immediately. Not actually, he gets terrified because his friends have been taken over by some ulterior exterior force that he doesn't understand.
Like washing machines through the window and feeling glad that...
Why are you not talking? What happened to Finn and Jake? You have taken over their bodies. Ah!
So he goes to hide inside of the wall because he is just very scared. So he's hiding in there inside of a tomb, just playing his music, trying to relax, and Finn and Jake have to try and figure out a way to go in there and get him. Jake decides that he's going to stretch down and tries to find him. He runs into a bunch of silly little things in the wall. Until he eventually stumbles upon Beimo sitting in a pharaoh's tomb for some reason. Beimo doesn't like this and just starts beating on Jake, so Jake has to run away back out of the wall, and they just don't know what to do. They get the brilliant idea to use some video game stuff and a, like, fan to blow the smell of video games into the wall. Yeah, I don't really get it, but either way they try, and Beimo, like, oh, what is that aroma? Comes out of the wall. And they start just like slow walking at him with signs that says it's okay. And to be honest, I wouldn't want people walking up on me with signs that say it's okay like this. Like that's a little bit menacing. I don't blame Beimo here for being a little bit terrified. Beimo runs back into the wall and is still very scared. Finn and Jake just don't know what to do. They decide to place a bunch of stuff on the floor with a note explaining everything, and Beimo just says that I'm never coming out. I'm never coming out. Kind of like Tom Cruise in that South Park episode where he's hiding in the closet. I don't know why, that just made me think of that. Anyway, they just decide, well, if Beimo's not going to come out, we're going to go in. And they just start smashing down the wall with axes. Kind of like a Shining reference. I think that's what they were going for, especially with Jake's face here. And Beimo just is still trying to play that music, trying to relax, and that's when all the bikini babes hear it, and for some reason the bikini babes can fly like birds using their hands. It's really weird, and they just start beating up Finn and Jake mercilessly until Jake eventually has to say, "Uncle."
Ow, ow, okay, fine. Uncle, please stop pinching me, bikini babe.
And they explain to Beimo that it was all just a game. It was just a wager, a silly little game, and they have just a beautiful bikini babe party and dance it up. It's a really funny episode. It just plays on Beimo being like super naive, but also it kind of makes sense why Beimo would be terrified if you have no idea why any of this is happening, why they're using all of these signs. It kind of is a little bit scary, but Beimo is the perfect character to be afraid of all of this happening, and everything that goes on inside that wall trying to get Beimo out is really funny, and that's why it ranks at number 10. It's just a very funny episode. Coming in at number 9 is the episode Football, and this episode really, I guess, isn't that much about Beimo. It's more about football, Beimo's reflection, who takes over Beimo's body when they agree to switch just for one little day, just so that football can experience the life outside of a bathroom mirror, because that's all football has ever known. Football has been trapped inside of the bathroom mirror, occasionally getting to talk to Beimo whenever Beimo is there. What a sad life. Football is enjoying every single minute of this, running around in the grass, meeting Carlos the duck.
Hello, my name is Football, and you are Carlos, my best friend since college.
Just enjoying life, telling Finn and Jake that he is football and he is here to stay, and it's just great, it's magical, good for football, and this makes football have the realization that Beimo must stay in that mirror, and football has to enjoy their life at all costs. So they tell Beimo that they're never going back in that mirror, but Beimo is strong. Beimo is able to figure this out. Football goes to tell Finn and Jake and Shelby and Nepter that Beimo is gone and is never coming back, and it's so sad.
Beimo told me to tell you that he has gone away forever. Beimo.
Finn and Jake don't really care because these are just silly Beimo shenanigans, you know? And Football goes outside, enjoying life, about to try and eat some grapefruit, and that's when Beimo appears in the reflection of their spoon.
Your head or your heart or both. And that's okay. Everybody feels some type of soul noise.
Football. Beimo? I know how to follow you, Football.
How is he doing this? Runs inside super scared. Beimo's on a coin. Beimo is able to go on any reflection in the entire house and just basically tells Football that he's a dead man. He never should have crossed Beimo. Football's terrified of everything, starts acting up, just having a bunch of really silly shenanigans, until it gets really bad and Football has a shillelagh and sees Nepter and sees the reflection, and Beimo is on Nepter, and he just starts beating Nepter.
Beimo, what is going on in here? Beimo? Beimo! Ah! Beimo, why?
Just smashing Nepter to bits, goes in the bathroom, smashes the mirror too, and then Finn and Jake put Football in timeout, and he's staring in front of the mirror talking to Beimo, and Beimo just has a wonderful quote here to describe what is going to happen to Football.
Sooner or later, you are going to sleep on some spaghetti, and I will be waiting on the shiny floor to drag you into your worst nightmare.
Football's terrified, breaks the window, goes up onto the roof, and sees Beimo's reflection on this metal thing on the ceiling, and Beimo is just like, dirt hole, because he's gonna put Football into a dirt hole. Football falls off the roof into the pond. And Football is transferred into the reflection of the pond. Beimo is back, and Football is just so much happier because he gets to be in the pond instead of just being stuck in a horrible bathroom mirror. And Beimo is happy, Football is happy, Finn and Jake make him put on his cone. It's just a great ending, and it's a really good episode. I never thought when I was watching the 5 Short Grables that they would ever turn the whole football concept into an actual episode and make Football his own character who is going to take over Beimo's body. Very interesting concept, and it's a very funny episode. Just all the stuff with Finn and Jake just not understanding why Beimo is having this personality disorder and why he's suddenly choosing to destroy Nepter. It doesn't really make any sense. And I feel like their urgency to like care about Nepter wasn't really felt. I felt like he was more in timeout just for breaking the mirror other than brutally attacking Nepter. It didn't really make a lot of sense. But either way, it is just such a funny episode and a great concept. And I'm really glad that they decided to make an episode like this. And coming in at number 8 is the episode Bemore. And this episode is just really good for Beimo lore. We get to learn about the origins of Beimo when Beimo is just sitting there, you know, just casually deleting files off of himself. I don't know why he could do this, but he deletes his system drivers, and this makes Beimo really sick, like basically dying. So Finn, Jake, and Beimo all have to go to the Mo factory in order to try and get Beimo some help to fix him, to just get him back in working order. They get into a bunch of silly shenanigans at the Mo factory. They have to deal with all the security Mo's. There's a funny moment with the S-Mo's, the security Mo's, where Jake just says that he's really sad when he's pretending to look like one.
What are you doing over there by yourself?
I'm sad.
Oh, yeah, Yano, we've all been there.
And just jacks into one and like starts stealing all the data about how to get there. And they also just kick the traveler guide Mo off of his tram.
Hey, only Mo's are allowed in the facility, 1,000%. Get off of my tram!
Cram your tram!
And there's this super high-speed chase where the security Mo's and the traveler guide Mo are all trying to get them, and they just fall down this super pit all the way down, and they eventually meet Mo, creator of the Mo's, the one who created Beimo, and it's revealed that he made Beimo to be more, to be somebody who could be imaginative, who could be helpful, who could be fun, who could maybe take care of somebody else in the future. He sent Beimo out in the world to find a family, and it's just very wholesome how much he actually cares about all of his Mo's, how much he cares about Beimo, and Beimo gets to look into this little area where all the other Mo's are living, and it's a very wholesome episode where Beimo gets to meet his family, learn about himself.
Say hello to your family.
Hello, family.
Finn and Jake get to learn all about Mo. It's just a really good episode to learn about Beimo's origins a little bit. Yes, we get a lot more origins about Beimo later on, a complete and utter origin story about him in space, but either way, this was a great beginning to learn more about Beimo and just his entire creation process. And number 7 is the episode Ketchup, and this is kind of a Marceline and Beimo episode because they're kind of the duo here, and I just love the beginning of this episode. Beimo showing up, stakes in hand, ready to fight some vampires. Nothing like Beimo being 2 seasons late to fight the vampires, doing this in season 9 of all things.
Good evening, ma'am. I just now heard that a bunch of vampires come back to Ooh. I am the guy who hunts those guys. Show me all your vampires.
This episode takes place after the whole Island and Elemental miniseries, and Marceline and Beimo are just hanging out because Marceline wants to figure out what's on this drive, and Beimo is there to hunt some vampires. They're hanging out together, and it's going to take a very long time to figure out what's on this drive because it's very dirty, very old, and Beimo has to process it for a long time. So they decide to tell each other stories about what they were doing during the Islands and during Elementals. And Beimo tells the story of the entire Island miniseries, you know, where Finn goes to find all of the humans and finds his mom, and they go against the Guardian. They go on this awesome sailing trip. Yeah, and tells it with a giant, like, 8-legged cat that can fly.
Then the island started shaking and rising from the water. We were really sleeping on a big cat with legs on his back so he could walk upside down.
What's going on here?
We get to see a Mordecai cameo. Whoa!
A big blue jay was making noise nearby.
Whoa! And they fly off into the clouds, and Finn sings a song about being on a boat. Yeah, it's exactly like how Islands happens, and Beimo couldn't have told it any way better. It's just so funny. I love Beimo. I love Beimo's imagination. And then Marceline uses some puppets to explain to Beimo what happened before everything we saw in Elementals, and it's actually very sad. Patient St. Pim is a potato in the story and turns everybody else into potatoes because everybody has to be just like her. Everybody has to be potatoes so that she'll have potato friends. It's very messed up. And we learned that Marceline was able to like overcome this and able to resist it for a very long time and marches all the way over to Princess Bubblegum and tries to get her out, tries to get her to free herself, and just nothing is working. So she goes to find Patience and tries to ignore Patience just nonstop and actually gets Patience to give Marceline a cure. And when she goes all the way back to Princess Bubblegum to try and fix her, there is nothing left to fix. She's just a shell of herself. She's lost her mind. She's crazy, and she won't take the antidote. So Marceline just decides, well, if Princess Bubblegum is gone, then I'm gonna succumb to this as well. So
That lollipop girl was a completely different person.
No!
Rockstar Girl was heartbroken.
So Marceline succumbs to the potato or the elements in the real world, and that's how all of Elements happened. That's how Marceline was roped into all of the stuff with the elementals, and that's how she joined Princess Bubblegum and became Marshmalline. Very sad and very horrible. I really wonder what would have happened if Finn and Jake were just on the island when Patience did that. It was very lucky that Finn and Jake and Beimo were all off doing their own thing during this. It's very lucky circumstances, but then that file is finally done downloading, and on it is pictures of Marceline with her mom when she was very, very young.
Mom.
And this makes Marceline very sad, so Beimo tells a very nice story about this picture of Marceline and the mom, and how Marceline's mom is from the moon. She's the moon lady and comes and hangs out with her, spends time together.
They became best friends. They swam in the dirty ocean water.
And yeah, it's just very emotional for Marceline. Very good Beimo Marceline episode that I didn't know that I needed, that turned out to be really good. Great recap episode, has some funny moments, has some sad, emotional moments. Overall, a very solid episode.
But the little girl never forgot the moon lady or their friendship.
I think I've heard a story like that a long, long time ago.
And coming in at number 6 is Islands Part 4, Imaginary Resources. And in this episode, there are 2 main plot lines that I really like to follow and that I find absolutely hysterical. Beimo has put on a VR headset, and in this world, he is a big, beautiful, buff Beimo man.
Y'all are in trouble.
Beimo! Ban!
With bulging muscles, bulging biceps, and he is just the mod. He's the head of this world, in this VR world. Everybody loves him. He has a dance party room where he hosts amazing dance parties. He is the best in this entire world. He is living his best life. He enjoys it so much. Finn and Jake have to create their own avatars to go in there and try to get Beimo to leave. Beimo doesn't want to leave because he's just the best version of himself there. So Jake goes out of this world and decides that he's going to break the machine that everybody uses. And this makes Beimo really sad, just starts crying, and Jake and Finn feel really bad. But it's okay, it's fixed, and Beimo gets to go back to his world, and he reveals that he does want to go with Finn and Jake. He just likes the world that he's in. He likes being the top dog. He likes being this version of himself, but he does miss Finn and Jake. He has to go with him. He even tried to create these super weird, creepy versions of Finn and Jake that I don't like to look at very much.
I tried to make a Finn and Jake in the goggles world, but they were scary.
Yeah, not a big fan of them. But either way, Beimo does decide that he's going to go with Finn and Jake to help complete their journey. Very good. They love each other. Amazing. And I can't forget to mention the other part of this episode, that Jake has an egg inside of him the entire time.
What are you doing with that egg?
I don't know yet. Egging me.
Dance, baby, dance.
Because egging me, that's Jake's whole thing here. Egging me, got egging you. And he just is carrying this egg the entire episode, and then at the end it hatches from him.
Man.
I can fit, I just need to... Finn, did you see?
It's really funny. I don't know why he decides to carry this egg, but it's so funny. It's a really good episode. And coming in at number 5 is Beimo Lost, and this is such a good episode. It opens with Beimo just sitting at the top of the treehouse, living his best life, staring through a telescope, and then a giant bird just grabs Beimo, swoops him up, and just takes Beimo all the way to his children, and tries to feed Beimo to his kids, and Beimo's not gonna let that happen. Beimo escapes and falls down this cliff and meets Bubble. And Bubble is just a guy who doesn't really understand what he is and why he is there.
Home is very large and very beautiful, but I can't pin down these memories. It haunts me.
Oops! Oh, I wasn't listening to your story.
He forgets his home. He doesn't understand. He knows that his home is large. It's big. We get lots of good just Beimo and Bubble interactions this entire episode. They're a pretty good pair. And then they eventually stumble upon this baby in the middle of the woods, and they decide to name it Sparkle/Ricky, whatever you want to call it. And they just take this baby, drag it away without knowing if it belongs to anyone. They just start dragging this baby, which also leads to some great scenes. And the baby eventually, Beimo's all like, "You gotta cross this bridge, Ricky." And Ricky goes to cross this really raggedy bridge.
Okay, Ricky, slow and steady. Ricky,
into this ravine. Beimo has to chase him, and it's up to Bubble to save the day. He's able to push a leaf, which causes this amazing chain reaction that stops this river from taking them off a waterfall, and Bubble saves them both, and it's a great happy family. Ricky starts crying. The mom comes, finds the baby, and is like, "You're horrible for trying to take my baby away from me." And Beimo's super sad because this baby that they found in the forest no longer belongs to them.
No! Ricky, no! No!
Beimo, that's his mom. Let go.
But anyway, Beimo and Bubble decide that they're just going to run home. They eventually find the treehouse. They're so happy together, and Bubble confesses all of his love for Beimo. All the love he has ever had. He hasn't felt home until he found Beimo, and Beimo says yes to marrying Bubble. This is just so wholesome. Oh, I just can't handle how wholesome this is. Beimo and Bubble getting married. They're gonna have so many great adventures. And then Jake just pops Bubble.
Hey, a bubble! Pop!
Just literally kills him and just laughs about it. Bubble kills him right there. Bubble's dead, or so you thought. He gives a speech about how he is heir now, and this is his true home, and he will always, forever, be around Beimo. And Beimo is ecstatic! Yay! Because now Bubble is always around Beimo. Yay, yay! And that's the entire episode. This episode is really funny. All the stuff with Beimo and Bubble is really good. The stuff with kidnapping the baby and then just immediately sending him off of a cliff is great. It's just a really solid episode for Beimo, and I like it a lot. There's a lot of good funny moments throughout, and it's just a great little Beimo adventure.
Every room you ever go in, I'll already be there, waiting forever and ever until the end of time.
At number 4 is the episode Beimo Noir, and it's just a Detective Beimo episode. What else could you need in life? And this entire episode revolves around the search for Finn's missing sock. And I am convinced that Beimo just hid the sock himself so that he would have an entire day to play as a detective and go around and just have this magical imagination experience with a bunch of different creatures at the house. And living, non-living, whatever you want to talk to, Beimo, you go for it to find this sock that you knew where it was the entire time. Or maybe you didn't, maybe you deleted the file that he did this in the first place, and it's actually a detective caper. But he goes around talking to a mouse named Ronnie.
Hello, Ronnie.
What do you want, Beimo?
Trying to figure all this out. He talks to the police cats. He talks to a remote named Vinny, and even his old lover, Lorraine the chicken, smothered in a beautiful red lipstick.
Where is the sock, Lorraine? What make you think I know? I saw your lipstick on his fur. So don't act so cute.
His former lover who he made out on multiple occasions. Who could have stolen this sock? It's a great detective episode. You're wondering constantly who could have possibly done it. Was it Ronnie? Was it Vinny? Was it Lorraine? Beimo talking to Ronnie is really funny. The entire relationship with the chicken thing is also really funny. The case being cracked and being revealed to be Lorraine the chicken stealing all of the gems, all of the loot.
Get back here with that treasure, Lorraine.
Sorry, Beimo. I earned this loot.
And telling Beimo that the sock is in their old makeout spot back when they were together, back when they were in love, back when they weren't dinosaur bones.
What about the sock, Lorraine?
Oh, that old thing? I hid that where no one would ever find it. In our secret grown-up kissing spot.
Yeah, that's the entire episode. I didn't know that I needed a Beimo detective episode in my life, but I'm so glad that I got one, because it's just really funny watching Beimo just, like, narrate his own detective episode. It's just great, and that's why it's number 4.
She's with me now. Do you hear?
Calm down, big guy. Me and Lorraine are dinosaur bones.
And coming in at number 3, the episode from Distant Lands, Beimo. And in this episode, it's just really nostalgic, I mean, to get to see Beimo again. I mean, at this point, Adventure Time had been over for a while, and we were all clamoring for something. And for Beimo to be the first episode of Distant Lands, I was not disappointed, because Beimo is just so good in this episode. It opens with Beimo flying in space on a mission to Mars, of all things, singing a cowboy space song.
I got my potatoes, more exciting than tornadoes. Potatoes, potatoes, buy my fresh potatoes.
And he goes outside of the ship to repair a little patch, and he runs into Olive, this weird little space guy that could shift his body around and transform. And Olive is just in shock by this little robot here, grabs onto the ship, and flings Beimo all the way past Mars, just across the entire galaxy, until they eventually reach the Drift.
Ah!
a space station that is basically on its last legs. It's chaotic, it's lawless, and it all revolves around one man, Hugo. And Beimo has to try and save all of these people. He appoints himself the sheriff of the Drift, and he is going to save every single person there. It's honestly just so much fun watching Beimo go through all of this. His confidence is immeasurable, and I love it. I love how Beimo gets in these episodes. It's just so great when he thinks that he could accomplish literally anything. It's so great to watch. And he eventually meets this little rabbit named Y5, who is just blindly trusting her parents, blindly trusting Hugo, and views Beimo as just this little piece of tech that needs to be explored and needs to be brought to Hugo. Hugo determines Beimo is pretty much worthless, though. Now, the thing about Hugo is he is exploiting all of the Drift to find all of the valuable tech, all of the valuable resources, to put it on his Unity pod so that he could escape the Drift and leave everybody alone without any of their valuable resources. That is Hugo's goal. It's just Hugo number one, everybody else is going to die. That's Hugo's goal, that's Hugo's promise, but he is viewed as a savior. Everybody just has blind trust in Hugo, and that includes Y5's parents. So Y5 is going with Beimo, trying to understand Beimo, and Beimo is just trying to fix the Drift, trying to go through all of this, and Beimo is eventually destroyed. Dismantled and taken apart after they figure out that Hugo is stealing all of the resources, Beimo is gone, and this is where Y5 has the realization that she needs to defy her parents, defy Hugo, and goes to save Beimo, grabs his memory core, and they confront Hugo one more time and expose him to all of the Drift, that he's been doing all these horrible things, and they are eventually able to defeat Hugo and send him back into space. This episode is a really great way to start Distant Lands. I mean, it's a prequel episode, because believe it or not, the episode ends with Beimo coming back to Earth and seeing a teenage Jake and a baby Finn.
Who's that?
Just chilling there, and he's all like, who is that? And he's so excited, and that's how Beimo meets Finn and Jake. It's just so great to watch Beimo go on this awesome solo journey all by himself, figuring out all of this stuff. No wonder Beimo was so confident in the original series, because he had already been through all of this. This stuff is absolutely crazy. This is a Finn and Jake level threat that Beimo handled all on his own with the help from Y5, and it is so good, so much fun to watch from beginning to end, and it's 44 minutes. It's a 44-minute Adventure Time episode. If you have not seen Distant Lands, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And coming in at number 2, my top comedy episode for Beimo is Angel Face. I love this episode so much. Beimo wants to be a cowboy. He wants to do a little cops and robbers. So he's making some special sentient sandwiches.
Face bread. Special sentient sandwich.
And he lures Jake in because Jake needs those special sentient sandwiches. He really needs it bad. But in exchange for all of these sandwiches, Jake has to be Beimo's horse for his cowboy adventures to capture Finn. And Jake reluctantly agrees after, Beimo is very forceful and Jake really wants those sandwiches.
Ow. Oh, yeah. It tastes alive.
So Jake gives his body, his life, his will, his horse features to be Beimo's noble steed.
Okay.
Oh, come on, man. You didn't even try.
And go on a journey to find the crook, who is Finn, who is also getting paid in some sandwiches. They go on this journey. It's really great just to watch Beimo just looking around for crooks, just being kind of really mean to Jake's hoarseness.
I'm so wasting!
By kicking him, telling him that horses can't talk.
Sleeping in my couch.
Beimo, that hurt when you dug your boots into my side belly. Are you gonna apologize or...
Horses do not talk.
Beimo's just kind of really mean to Jake here, but I mean, you get what you pay for, I guess. If this is what Beimo wants, it's what Beimo is going to get. And he places these wanted posters everywhere of Finn to help with the immersion, and a really tall-looking figure finds one of these wanted posters as well, and gets to them first, and it turns out to be Meow.
Who are you? And why do you want to get revenge?
I am Meow.
Meow? Whoa, you've gotten bigger.
Have we met before?
The return of Meow, except Meow is huge now, and he is just a bounty hunter, and he finds Finn first and has captured Finn, and it's up to Beimo and Jake to save the criminal version of Finn and battle against Meow, and they have this awesome showdown where Beimo saves the day and defeats Meow, and it is just so good.
No, you heard it incorrectly! Bang, bang, bang!
Yeah, I'm coming for you.
It is such a funny episode. The return of Meow was much needed, and I was waiting for it for so long. And yeah, it's just a peak episode for comedy and for Beimo, just shenanigans of using his amazing imagination. It's a great Beimo episode, and if you have not seen it, I definitely recommend it. And coming in at number 1 is The More You Mow, The Mo You Know. And this is a Beimo special episode, so it was a 2-parter. So 22 minutes of Beimo, that's never a bad thing. And this is one of the most serious Beimo episodes you could possibly get in the entire series. It's Beimo's birthday in this episode, and he's super excited because Mo is going to show up for his birthday to help him celebrate, because this is a big birthday. This is a big special day. And Mo shows up, not in his normal form. He is now a Mo. He's wearing a big white wig, and he tells Beimo that in order for Beimo to grow up, he has to travel to the Mo factory all on his own.
I got you a special mission.
A mission?
And little does Beimo know that this is all a trap, because this version of Mo that we see, although he is just a cranky baby that demands all of the attention in the world and isn't acting like Mo the entire time, he wants to play hangman and he wants all the attention from Finn and Jake, he is not Mo. He is Amo, the first version of Beimo that was made to receive love and could only receive love and could not give it in any way, shape, or form, and is just basically the villain version of Beimo if Beimo wasn't a good person. But Beimo doesn't know this, so Beimo listens to Mo and travels all the way to the Mo factory and falls into this trap and almost dies, falling down this pit where there's a ton of weapons and somehow doesn't get hit by a single thing. And eventually finds all of the Mo's smashed to bits, smashed to pieces, because Amo forced them all to jump into this pit and smush them all together into one super Mo.
Breached our firewall and was broadcast throughout the factory, instructing all us Mo's to do somersaults into the trash compactor all day long.
And yeah, it's very sad. I feel really bad for all those Mo's. And that's when we realized that a Mo came back to the factory after a long journey, found a Mo, and Mo's final wish was for his brain to be sent into the stars so that he could be with the stars for eons and just have his brain up there. Really interesting final wish. I actually like it a lot. But Amo denies his request, takes it anyway, and goes to find Finn and Jake and Beimo and steal the love that Beimo is being given. Really messed up. Amo is really villainous. But in the meantime, while all of this stuff is happening, while Beimo is traveling here learning about all of this, Mo is just trying to receive all of this attention from Finn and Jake, so he eventually fakes losing his legs after he bonks Nepter in the head and knocks him out cold.
Got a heck of a dent on his head.
What? Who could have done that?
Forget him. You love me, right? You love me like Beimo?
What?
And Finn and Jake obviously love Nepter a lot more than this stupid Mo, so they just drop him in the middle of the snow, try to tend to Nepter, and that's when Amo has to reveal himself, and he's able to summon balls, and he has balls above his head, and can shoot balls at people, so he knocks out Finn and Jake.
Wake up and love me!
And this leads to Beimo returning, having the ultimate climactic final battle against Amo. They have a awesome scene where Beimo's running, trying to get to him. He jumps on Amo's ball, and Amo is sent backwards off a cliff, and Amo dies. Right there. I think the reason this episode ranks above everything else for me is because of how serious it is, especially for a Beimo episode. And even though there are some funny moments throughout, Beimo is just going through this emotional journey of growing up. Even though he's just a robot, he's trying to grow up. And I just really like the theme of how growing up can be really hard, and you don't want to take the things in your past to help solidify who you are going to be. Like, for example, Beimo literally killing somebody in this episode. He doesn't want to use that to, like, exemplify that he's grown up, that he's now a grown-up person. He doesn't want to use the fact that he just killed someone to show who he is now, and he feels really bad about that. But
Amo could not think outside his programming and was blinded. But your imagination lets you see the world how it could be.
But I'm different.
even though growing up is scary, it's just something that has to happen, and that's what happens to Beimo in this episode. And I felt like Beimo became a more well-rounded character, even though as the series goes on, he's still that silly Beimo. He still goes on these silly adventures, but this was a really good episode to show a different side of Beimo, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much. It is my favorite Beimo episode in the entire series. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what your favorite Beimo episode is, because I'd love to hear all about about it, and I got plenty of good stuff coming on the way. I'm going to be ranking every single episode about Benson in regular show. I'm going to be ranking every single fight in regular show, more Adventure Time videos. You could always comment something. I take a lot of ideas from people who just comment things that they want me to do, so if you suggest something that's really awesome, I'll probably do that, so it's worth a shot, okay? But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.